Okay, we have a video over there. Let's do the live stream check. Boom. Okay. Hello, live streamers, people over there. Okay, I'm gonna, as usual, do the last break to get into the mood or whatever, and then join in and do this last segment. And I'll tell the people after I start too, but not gonna do a long one. I don't think. I'm tired, and I've got other stuff to do. But we'll see. Every time I say it's not going to be long, it ends up being long. But anyway, here we go. And yeah, it's been a few more hours for me, a couple minutes for you, whatever. And I had thought that I would do this last segment on more, more of that Kirk guy, the stuff about his killer, about the talk about did his killer, what was his killer, a groiper, or had he turned left and he'd gotten much more left wing in the last few months? And what about like this thing that he has, like a roommate who was transitioning male to female, and they were dating, it was a romantic relationship, and what does that mean? But some people are saying, well, he wasn't really a transitioning male to female, he was actually a femboy, and groipers actually have a thing for femboys, and it may seem like a contradiction that they are all like right wing and should be, you would expect them to be completely anti-trans, anti-gay, anti-queerness of any sort, but apparently not, because a lot of these are. Anyway, there's a whole online discussion about that, and I felt like maybe I was going to talk about some of that, or maybe about earlier today was the funeral service, and all kinds of prominent people attended, including Trump himself, of course, and they apparently set off fireworks for him when he appeared at the funeral, and it's just all sort of bizarre. But I'm honestly, like, I feel like I can move on from that. I don't know. I don't really want to get too deeply into it. Like I think the details of killer and his roommate and their motivations, those will all eventually come out more over time. The only thing that I would caution people about is some of the interpretations by the people who are talking about it right now have their own reasons to be biased and to interpret it a certain way, and also just lack of understanding. The one thing I've heard over and over and over again over the last few weeks about this, few weeks, however long it's been since this happened, was just that, hey, if you are not deeply embedded in these particular internet subcultures, you interpret their actions and statements at your peril, because they don't always mean what you would think they would mean. And if you're interpreting it from, a standard left right perspective, you may be deluding yourself, because it may not have anything to do with that at all, or it may just be a muddle. I think the best evidence at this point is that it's a muddle. It's like, for this guy and potentially lots of other people like him, there just isn't a consistent set of opinions that fit under traditional left right spectrum. They're just after. I think I said this on the week show, and maybe it's just about burn the system down and oppose everything, and idolizing violence while you're at it. And so maybe. And the one other thing I want to say, and I've said this a few times on the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack for those of you who are there, like, whenever they've been talking about, hey, it looks like this guy made a shift to the left, the only actual political opinion that has been stated anywhere whatsoever seems to be that he values and respects gay and trans people and doesn't think that that's bad. And, honestly, a few years ago, that was considered the mainstream American opinion. We've backslid since then, but it's that is not like radical left. That is what was absolutely mainstream, prior to Donald Trump being reelected, and so just when you hear things like he's moved left, interpret it within context. What is left to the Republican governor of Utah doesn't have to be Bernie Sanders, doesn't have to be a communist, and again, his viewpoints may be ideologically incoherent anyway, because that's sort of not the point of things. So anyway, and the other thing, I sort of said I didn't feel like talking about this, but I'm obviously talking about it for a few minutes. The amount of attention given to this guy, to Charlie Kirk, continues to be obscene, as far as I can, as far as my opinion goes. Yes, he shouldn't have been killed in this way, but also, yes, he was a horrible person, and he's being lionized here and getting massive amounts of attention. I mean, I didn't watch it at all, but it sounds like every major news network, a good portion of the services for him live. I even saw some foreign networks were doing so. He wasn't an elected official. He was prominent within certain circles in the MAGA movement, including, and importantly, obviously, he was well connected with the administration itself. He was friends with Donald Trump Jr. J.D. Vance credits him with actually being the vice president now. He knows a bunch of them. A lot of the coverage has noted that for the folks currently in West Wing at the White House, this is a personal thing, because most of them knew him pretty well themselves. So it's not just, some, people have said, it's medium popularity podcaster. Now, compared to like me and Yvonne, huge. Obviously. But he's he's popular within his zone. But before this happened, I would bet most folks had never heard of him. I mean, I had heard the name, but could I have identified exactly what he did versus what any other of a bunch of other sort of MAGA hangers on? Could I have told them apart? No, probably not. Would I have recognized, oh yeah, Charlie Kirk, he's one of them? Yes, but could I have been more specific than that? Probably not, to be honest. Even though I'm sure I've seen little bits and pieces of things he's said and done in the past, but it didn't particularly stand out to me. And I think for if you had done a poll of name recognition for Charlie Kirk prior to his killing, it would have been relatively small overall. Now, of course, within the certain demographics that he was specifically targeting, entirely different story. There is a certain cadre of people where he was very prominent and where people paid attention to him, and he was big. But people. Someone let's see if I can find the specific reference. I posted it to the Slack a little while ago. This is from somebody with the handle TV Mojo, TVMOJOE on Blue Sky. As CNN offers day-long saturation coverage of the podcaster's funeral, I went back and checked to see how CNN covered Melissa Hortman's memorial on June 28th, where Walz spoke and Biden and Harris attended. It got about 4 minutes during the hours it was happening, which was less time than they gave to Jeff Bezos's wedding, which was the same day. And this is the kind of disproportionality that, like, okay, this happened. It's somewhat important. Like, it shouldn't have happened. It's, guy shouldn't have been shot. But the way that it's gotten the level of attention of well beyond what I think was probably warranted here. Or at the very least, like, I could see, if they had given the attention to Hortman, and then maybe you could make the case. But no, like, the shooting was a news story. Do we have to cover the funeral live? No. I mean, and they're doing the thing again where, if Donald Trump is holding a rally, which is effectively is what this turned into, they very frequently give it coverage just because he's the president and just because he's crazy. So who the hell knows what he's going to say this time? And so things get disproportionate attention. But the result of all this is all of these mainstream news outlets have been falling all over themselves to talk about how great this guy was, or at the very least to not talk about the bad side, and just giving him all sorts of attention and leaning into the martyr complex here, which is exactly what Trump and company are trying to do anyway. They're trying to take advantage of this to push their agenda and to move things further along. And look, I understand it's opportunistic. It makes sense. They're going to do that, but the media doesn't have to go along with it. But apparently they do. Because if they don't, they'll get the Jimmy Kimmel treatment, I guess. I don't know, just to bring things around. Okay, that was still relatively short. Let's wrap it up. I am tired. We between the last one and this one, we did open some presents and stuff. That was cool. Alex is doing something with one of the things he got right now behind me. Do some other stuff. I don't know. Watch some TV. Anyway, I'm tired. And after I stop this recording, I still have stuff to do to like bundle it up and get it published, some of which I might not do till morning. You guys don't care because unless you're watching on YouTube, nobody's watching live right now, but somebody could watch a replay. I don't know, but you don't care because by the time you're listening to it. All this is done. But anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to wrap it up. That's the point, and then I'll get it out when I get it out. You guys know the deal. Curmudgeons-corner.com. Go there, find all the good stuff, find our archives, find transcripts, find all the ways to contact us. And of course, I still haven't added the TikTok link. And depending on what happens with TikTok, like maybe I never will. Like, because apparently, like part of this deal, if it does happen, is they're going to ask existing TikTok users to move to an entirely different app. And yeah, I don't know. And I you could say like, I was going to say, and I don't trust the people who are being set up as the people who are going to be controlling the new TikTok. But at the same, okay, do I trust the Chinese now? Not really, but I use it because it's fun. Would I try the new one? I don't know, maybe, but I don't want to move. I don't want to I don't want to do anything that takes any work to change where I am. So my gut feel, my inclination right now, and this might change, is to continue what I'm doing on TikTok until I can't anymore. Once I can't, actually resist the idea of going anywhere else to replace it. It's a time suck anyway. I don't need that. I can reclaim that time and do more useful things with it. Anyway, there's no link to our TikTok, but if you do want to see our TikTok clips, which I'm still a month plus behind on, I have not been catching up properly. Although I have one ready to post, exported and ready to post soon from an old episode. Yeah, because I'm still going in order. But anyway, if you search Curmudgeon's Corner on TikTok, you'll find it. Yeah. And of course, there's a link to our Patreon where you can give us money at various levels. We'll mention you on the show. We will ring a bell. We will send you a postcard. We will send you a mug, all that kind of stuff. Importantly, at $2 a month or more, or if you just ask, we will invite you to the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack where Yvonne and I and various other people are chatting throughout the week, sharing links, news stuff, funny stuff. There's a channel where people are still sharing like their Wordle scores, and Yvonne plays Pointed at Bloomberg, and occasionally other games sneak in there. Yeah, there's all kinds of fun stuff. You should join us. But one highlight from there, Yvonne does that, but I'll do one. Which one? Oh, Mark Zuckerberg did a demonstration of his AI smart glasses this week, and it apparently was kind of rough. I did not watch it. I saw this article about it and a few others. Defector.com had the headline for their summary. Demonstrates that his AI smart glasses suck and don't work. Apparently there were a number of hiccups during the demo where things didn't work, where people clicked on things accidentally that they weren't trying to do and had to restart it, and blah 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 blah. And I gather they ended up cutting it a little short. But yeah, look, Meta's smart glasses or whatever are the leader in that category right now. There really isn't a a lot else going on. There's speculation that maybe Apple will eventually do something like that. Um, hold on. There's speculation maybe Apple will eventually do something like that. Obviously, they have their sort of augmented reality goggle things that have come out and, you know, are really sort of developer prototype at this stage. The rumors that a second one will come out at some point, and then a third, and of course it'll get better, smaller, whatever. But at the moment, really, it's if you're getting that kind of glasses, it is Meta that's doing it. Let me read a little bit of that article. Um, there we go. Said Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg on stage as he attempted to answer a video call through a combination of movements between a wristband and a pair of. Well, let's see what happened there. That's too bad, he continued shortly before cutting short the live demo. The video call went unanswered. This took place at Wednesday's Meta Connect event, where Meta unveiled several new AI-enhanced wearables and boasted that these would soon be empowering people with new abilities. Those abilities will include being able to answer text messages and look up information online, activities you have surely been unable to do before now, and will soon find will change your life in profound ways once you are able to use the power of wearable AI. Imagine, soon you will be able to listen to music while walking. The demo began with Zuckerberg explaining that the keyboard interface had been replaced by a neural band worn on the wrist that allows users to twiddle through menus by twitching their fingers, demonstrated by a disembodied hand moving like a dreaming dog. This constitutes the ability to send signals from your brain. Um, Obviously, this article has a snarky tone about this whole thing. It's on defector.com, published September 18th by Patrick Redford. It's worth a read. Anyway, it's kind of funny. And with that, let me close up. Thank you for joining us for yet another Curmudgeon's Corner. Hopefully, Yvonne will be able to make it next time. Or if not, hopefully I'll have enough notice to get a co-host. Yeah. In the meantime, all the usual stuff I say. Stay safe, have fun, have a great week. We'll talk to you next time. Goodbye. Okay, and that's it, live streamers. I'm hitting stop. Later.